Hey, folks, today we're going to talk about Ja Morant and the hypocrisy of the NBA. Doing this broadcast behind the scenes a little bit. Usually I don't do this unless I'm doing a review, but we'll just discuss Ja Morant, who not allegedly, we all saw the video where he waved a gun during an IG live, apparently at a club somewhere in the Memphis area on late Friday night, Saturday morning. Ja Morant had a game prior to that on Friday night. But we're just going to discuss some things about Ja Morant and the hypocrisy of the NBA and Nike. I'm aware as I'm taping, Nike made a statement. But we're just going to talk about Ja Morant and the double standard, not to pile on the young man or the kid, or to make his situation grave or far worse and blow it out of proportion. But we're just going to share a couple things, a couple thoughts on what's going on. So, prior to this, it had been some incidents with the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant's entourage, as well as his father, with their antics on the court, and after the games. So early this year, TMZ reported a story, I'm going to put it up here, where Ja Morant's, the bus from the Memphis Grizzlies was basically a red. I'll read the story for you guys. And this is going to be from The Athletic. NBA probe incident involving associates of Grizzlies Ja Morant, red laser trained at Pacers team members. Following a game between the Pacers and the Grizzlies on January 29th in Memphis, acquaintances of Grizzly star Ja Morant aggressively confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team bus in the loading area of the FedEx Forum. And later, someone in the slow-moving SUV, which Morant was riding in, tased the laser at him. The red dot lasers that these kids do. The two members of the traveling party who spoke to the Atlantic said that they did not see who shined the laser from the SUV. They also did not know if the laser was attached to a gun, but they believed it was. A Pacers security guard in the loading area at the time remarked, "That's 100% a gun." Now, folks, just to give you some background on what happened from the incident, Ja Morant's friends or entourage, they're no longer allowed to come to any NBA games with Ja Morant. They're no longer allowed to be anywhere within the facility after the NBA had already previously had investigated that incident. So a lot of people with this latest incident trying to understand why the NBA or why people are so upset with Ja Morant. As you can see, Shannon Sharpe has been trying to give Ja Morant advice and been saying certain things on his show, Undisputed. And a lot of people thought Shannon Sharpe was being personal. But obviously, you can see that it's a pattern here, unfortunately. Let me read this next article to you guys. Excuse me. Now, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, TMZ reported this about Ja Morant. Ja Morant sued, allegedly punched teen during game at Tennessee home. This is exclusive TMZ. Read the article. Ja Morant has been sued. TMZ Sports has learned after he allegedly involved in an attack of a minor during a basketball game in July at his Tennessee home. The suit was filed in Shelby County, and September court's records show the case has since been sealed. But we've learned that all stems from a July 26th incident at the NBA superstar's residence. That was an incident that most people didn't know about that just happened to happen. Or most people didn't know what was going on with Ja Morant and that incident, so that was more news. So I'm just going to explain some things. See, by now, you guys should be aware of what's going on. Why hasn't Nike said anything? And I find it very hypocritical that Nike and the NBA, and I say the NBA because I don't mean the Memphis Grizzlies, because the Memphis Grizzlies, after allegedly Ja Morant showed the gun on IG, the Memphis Grizzlies suspended Ja Morant for 2 games, not the NBA and Nike. Nike has a lucrative contract with Ja Morant. I'll show you their response, and he didn't lose no endorsements from this. Not saying I or anybody else wants him to lose any endorsements, but it's mighty hypocritical that he's brandished a gun. Him or his entourage was accused of having a gun with a red laser on it. And we know an individual who was vilified by the media, suspended by the NBA and his team indefinitely for sharing a link and being anti to their medical trials. Mighty funny. So this was Ja Morant's statement. Morant was seen on Instagram Live early Saturday morning, brandishing a firearm inside a night Friday night. Entertainer Morant's agent released a statement on behalf of the All-Star, saying that Morant takes for his actions in Instagram video. His coach, the city of Memphis, and its Grizzlies organization for letting you down. The statement read, "I'm going to take some time away to get and work on learning better and methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." Folks, let me explain to you guys how this works. The NBA is full of crap here. And I'm going to say the NBA because the NBA security is majority of them are ex-law enforcement. They have a way of finding out everything you do, everything you tweet, everybody you meet with. They know your accomplices, they know your acquaintances and their acquaintances. NBA security and NFL security, from the sports league standpoint, they have some of the most intense ex-law enforcement personnel working for the security. So they know what Ja Morant is doing or what his acquaintance is doing. And it's mighty funny that they're mighty quiet about it. And they haven't said anything about it. The NBA could have easily suspended Ja Morant indefinitely. We all know that those of us that follow the NBA and been NBA fans for years know that Commissioner Stern, when he was the commissioner, though many of us didn't like his harsh standpoints, we know Commissioner Stern would have suspended him indefinitely. We know Commissioner Stern, literally, unfortunately, he dealt with an iron fist when it came to players' conduct off the court. And, you know, Ja Morant really needs to get himself together, and I hope that he is. He says he's going to take a step away. But this is the hypocrisy of the NBA and Nike as well. Nike has finally issued a statement in reference to Ja Morant, and I'll share it here. When Nike said what they said. Here we go. According to the New York Post, Nike responds to Ja Morant gun video after suspension. A troubling video showed a Ja Morant flashing gun. Nike released a statement they will support Morant despite the hot water he finds himself in with the NBA. The 23-year-old Grizzlies video went viral of Morant had an unnamed holding the team on ability, and that he is taking the time to. We support his prioritization of his well-being, Nike said. I'm not going to attack Ja Morant's mental health because that's not my profession. That's not something I'm strong in, and that's not something that I don't believe anybody should play with. If the kid think he needs a mental break or to be able to deal with the stress, so be it. But it's mighty hypocrisy that the NBA and Nike, who have a financial investment with this athlete, will literally allow him to self-destruct or to do this self-defeating behavior without stepping in at some point. And then the Grizzlies to suspend him 2 games. What is 2 games going to do? A lot of the players in the NBA take games off, load management, say they got family issues, and the NBA has no problem with letting these guys take off, so it shouldn't be an issue here. However, the hypocrisy is that the NBA has marketed Ja Morant, Nike has marketed Ja Morant, and they all know that this is a pattern of behavior. It actually started last year. Not so much off the court, but on the court, in the stands with the antics of his father, his antics, his team. They need some veterans probably on the roster. However, the NBA knows this stuff. So I just want people to be aware of what's going on, people to be cognizant and realize that, we're going to pray for this kid if he needs help. If you're a praying person, if he needs help, he needs help. But at the end of the day, we need to be mindful that these corporations, i.e. Nike and the NBA, they have no problem with Ja Morant brandishing a gun. Their response was basically off of his response in the public outcry. They have no problem with the antics with the other teams and the fighting and all that. But they had a problem with someone sharing a link on their Twitter. Now, you could think that Kaari Irving sharing a link on his Twitter was a bad look for Kaari. That's neither here nor there, and I've done multiple shows on that situation. However, I find it mighty hypocritical that the NBA hasn't made a statement. You saw a lot of spin from the NBA family today, a lot of the commentators. I'm going to play something that Jalen Rose said I find interesting. And Jalen Rose had been in some situations, but he kind of don't speak about them no more. But I'm surprised he even talked about it when it came to Ja Morant. I'm going to play it for you guys.
Public consumption since 1991. And I've been involved in drug raids. I've survived assassination attempts. I've been that undisciplined young person that was trying to figure out how to be famous, how to be successful, how to change the dynamics of my family. The one thing that young people have to understand, and in Ja Morant's case, when you first get drafted, you go from being a member of the family, a member of the crew, to being the leader, to being the breadwinner. And first and foremost, I hear a lot of people talking about like his family and his crew. When you the leader, it's on you, because you end up searching that lifestyle. You end up wanting to be down. And what I had to learn is that people come into your life for 4 reasons: to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You have to choose wisely. He has way too much to lose. Trust me, I've been that young player carrying a gun. And Will Bond alluded to this. When you start waving it, that could get you killed. That's an entirely different thing than we're talking about. A superstar athlete should be putting themselves in position. And as Stephen A mentioned, that's him on the video, on his IG Live. Ain't nobody coaxing him. Ain't nobody ain't nobody egging him on to do that. That's a personal choice. And a lot of times, guys, as I mentioned, fame can be a drug. And I don't know what type of pain that he deals with and type of anxiety that he has, or what types of substances that he may be using. And I'm glad in his statement that he owned that I need to make changes for me, because as the leader, as the breadwinner, you control the environment. The people that are around you, you select. And a lot of times, unfortunately, and Will Bond alluded to this also, when we start to get fame, when we start to get money, then we try to feel like we keeping it real. Like we trying to be down now. We're trying to be tough now. We're trying to be hard now. But you made it. And once you make it, your job is to uplift, to enlighten. And I'm glad this actually happened at this point of his life. He's a 23-year-old young man. Nobody got arrested. Nobody got injured. And I'm hearing too many stories about pistols. Okay? Allegedly with the 17-year-old kid. Allegedly with the Indiana Pacers staff. Last night on IG Live, I saw the video like you guys did, brandishing the gun. The next step to that is now recovery. And I believe that he's on that path. I'm happy that he's on that path. He's going to return, and he's going to be a better person. And because of all of this taking place, he's now going to be able to live his full potential.
Now, I find him interesting. And shout out to Jalen, because Jalen gave him some grace there in his statement. However, when you talk about the hypocrisy, is the vitriol and the rhetoric, how they dealt with Kaari for just sharing a link. Folks, you know how many links we share on social media just for the sake of sharing it? And then we say that Kaari's supposed to be held to a higher standard? So we need to be mindful of this, of what's going on in the hypocrisy of the NBA and Nike. Because Nike disassociated themselves with Kyrie Irving.
But he's Kevin Durant.
Hold on. So, you know, folks, I was looking for something else I was going to put up there, but we'll just discuss it. But I'm going to close this out and just, you know, just be mindful of what happens with these big corporations, NBA, i.e. Nike, and what they do, the games they play with these athletes. And these athletes, these commentators, a lot of them is not going to say nothing because a lot of them is getting money. And I get it. This is how you pay your bills. This is how you take care of your family. But if you have to pay your bills and take care of your family, and you have to compromise your values on what's right and correct, then obviously your values don't align with what mainstream people think of you as an athlete or somebody in the public eye. Hopefully Ja Morant gets the help he needs. Hopefully there's no more incident with the young man. Hopefully he could bounce back, have a good career, get all the money, get the bag, as most of us say. But at the end of the day, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. I've seen a lot of things on social media. One of the things that was said was Ja Morant is the first person to go from the NBA to the hood. And for those people that know about the hood, like, most people do whatever they got to do to try to get out of it. You know, that's why they call it crabs in the barrel. People use that metaphor when they talk about the hood, because people will literally step on you to get out. So in that, remember, appreciate all you guys. Remember, like, share, subscribe. The best way to support is to support. With that, I'm out.